Hey, welcome. Today we have an amazing presentation, Love for Literacy, Volunteers Make the Difference, and our presenter is Mr. Dorian Harris. I have the great pleasure to work with Dorian in our National Parent Cafe leadership team. Dorian is a single father who raised 7 children in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He currently works for the Philadelphia School District as a community relations manager. He also works with Net Community Care as a parent mentor. He's super busy, in other words. He was recently nominated as president of the Special Education Parent Teacher Association, and he's an active member of, as I said, our Be Strong Families National Parent Cafe leadership team, and he works tirelessly as a community advocate for literacy in the Philadelphia community. And today we're going to be talking about all that amazing things that Mr. Dorian is doing. So, Dorian, welcome. And what can you tell us about Dorian Harris?
So good afternoon. First of all, thank you, Lori, Be Strong Families, for inviting me and being able to do this presentation. You basically almost said everything that's on there. Um, this I just love advocating for our families, and especially when it comes to literacy. But just knowing not just in the state of Pennsylvania, but across the country, data is showing that our kids are not at the reading level as they should be. So, um, just being able to support these families, putting additional resources out there for these families to help our kids grow socially and academically. Um, this is what I'm geared to do.
Hmm, Um, Tell us what inspired you to give back to your community as a volunteer and in the area of literacy in particular.
Well, I want to say, as a single dad raising children on my own, and just knowingly that, when I seen, when we put our children in school, we definitely want to check out see how well the school is progressing. So we definitely want to look at the school index, and it just seemed like every school that I was looking at, I was like, well, wow, why is reading is below level? Where's the cause, and how do we get to the root of this cause? So I said, well, you know, I'm a dad. I'm always enforcing reading on my children. Kept books in the house, kept my kids in the book. So I said, well, how do I get other families to do what I'm doing with my children, or what type of, where's the resources being lacked at? So how do I bridge that gap as um, getting these resources out to these families and supporting these families on this initiative and getting others involved with me to support this initiative in this cause? Because um, I'm quite sure everyone want their child to be able to read. Um, who wouldn't love reading? I always grew up with that I think with that bear on the commercial riff. Reading is fundamental, right? And that's stuck with me as a kid growing up, that reading is fundamental, because reading you can explore, right? There's so many opportunities when you read. It takes you on different levels. It takes you on different aspects in life, and then you have a whole different perception of your environment, your city, your community, because reading is like I always say, with a house without books is like a house without windows, right? That if you look out the window, if there's no window to look out, then what are you looking for? You don't see nothing. You can't imagine nothing. You can't explore it. The mind don't explore it. So that's my take on this literacy initiative.
So, did you grow up reading yourself with books in your house?
Yes, yeah, kept a library. Yes, my mother kept books in the house. She said, I don't care if it's anything that you don't do, but you will read. You will read. So I remember those hot summer days that, guess what? We can go out to play, but you had to put 2 hours in the book before you went out to play.
Wow.
So, and that was me and my brothers. My mother was a single mother, raised 4 boys. But she didn't do anything, she kept books in the house and told us that we will read every day. Every day we had to put at least an hour to 2 hours in reading a book of our choice, whether it was a comic book or a book. But just having, even the comic book, whatever you read, you are adapting reading skills, right? You are growing your reading, you are growing your vocabulary. at the same time. So we went into reading books to reading newspaper clips because that changed the vocabulary. There was something words. We started building up our own library of words at the same time.
And how did you turn that love into volunteering? How did you start volunteering?
Well, because I mean, I say, how did we give back, right? And everything don't have to be of a monetary value to me. I get paid from my heart when I see when I can give that little girl, that little boy, a little home library to take home. They got a nice little basket with 3 or 4 books in it and some other material and resource, and I engage with the families. That's my payoff. That's my pay. Just to see the smile on the face and just knowing that, what, somewhere along the way, I know I'm going to make an impact in some of these kids' lives. I know I'm going to change some of their lives around, um, because I was able to share the resources with them, providing them with brand new books from local authors, that they families might not be able to afford. So not only do I give back, I actually, try to get others to give back on the initiative that I'm doing, so they can be supported in the community, and not just in the community, but supported in the work that we do as volunteers.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about the authors that you've been able to get
Yeah.
through your program a little bit. But first, tell us about the role of the reading captain, because that's part of your whole event. But you got
Right.
others to come in to help you, right?
Yes, yes. So this reading captain initiative, this is something that's kicked off by the school. I'm sorry, by the city of Philadelphia's free library. And what they did, they said, you know what? How do we engage more families and engage in the communities? And they came up with this initiative called Reading Captains. So 5 years ago, I said, you know what? Let me sign up to be this reading captain. I wanted to see what it's about. And I got involved, and I actually had others join with me. So when I start building up this team, then they say, well, Mr. Dorian, you got all these reading captains in the North Philly section of Philadelphia, that we want you to be the North Philly reading captain facilitator. I was like, okay, but like I tell all my volunteers, whatever I do, it's never about me, you know, because I said, because I would like to relinquish this someday, and the next person, because we're all leaders, we all volunteers, we're all leaders. There's no one of us is stronger than all of us, so that because I'm put down as a facilitator, that means no way in no form that I may say, hey, Darlene, hey, Tarika, I need you guys to do this. I need you to take lead of this for the next 3 to 6 months. In other words, it's an open opportunity, because I want all the volunteers, I want everyone who's been engaged with me doing this initiative to feel like I said, we're all leaders. We're all leaders, so I don't like to take all the accolades. I really walk away from a lot of the accolades, because it's not about me. Like I had to tell the news reporter, don't interview me, interview that little boy and his mother. You know, he's a little author. He's the one writing it. He got this nice I can read so I can lead logo and slogan that's going across the whole city of Philadelphia now, because it caught on, through all these events that we've been doing. Um, that, you know, shine, put that light on the families now. I want the families to grow from this. I'm here just to engage, educate, and empower. And it's never about me. I'm here to do a job. I'm here to serve the community. And
Yeah.
these are some of the things. And I thank you for this. And I've been working on this project right here for going on 5 years, and it finally came into fruition last week. We had a press conference. So this is at one of our subway stations. These are some of our new shirts that we have. Reading is everywhere. Um, and this little machine you see right here is in one of our subway stations. It's a kiosk. You go up to the machine, you push a button, and it'll start printing out a story on I want to say about 10 sheet of, like by the 10 by 4 feet of paper comes out, and you can actually just read a story that anyone and everyone who got a little short story they want to write, they can forward it to me, and it will actually go into one of these machines are located in 4 different sectors of the city. And in the near future, we're talking about putting them on a lot of our buses, our transportation buses. So this is in partnership with our transportation system, SEPTA, Southeastern Pennsylvania Transportation Authority, where they partner with us. So we're able to put this down in the subways, at the bus stops, because one of the things I was always saying years ago that is our kids really, can they really read or can they really read? They can read, but they just not reading the real messages, the right messages. When you have a 3-year-old that can say cigarette, Newport, name all kinds of beers, I'm not mad at it because this is what they see in their everyday travels, right? There was no real advertisement for children that they can go to school and go with a positive message already implanted in them before they sat in their chair behind their desk in their school building, right? So now they get to see all this, our objective is to make Philadelphia literacy rich. I want the kids to see the reading is everywhere. The book right there, You Are Different. What about me? I can read so I can lead. So like all these big events, there's putting all these resources out there on billboards. We just had to change the narrative of the language and the signage of what our kids see. So now when mom and dad and the kids get on the bus, they can actually get on the bus or get on the train, on the subway, and they can do all kinds of activities now. Now we can engage as a family. I don't have to look at the walls as a 5-year-old and I'm looking at something that don't even pertain to me as a 5-year-old, right? But now I see letters. Now I can get on the bus and go point at letters and say, hey, mom, this is the W and this is that. And let's put a word together. W means what? T is the. And actually, we've seen this going on at this press conference. All these kids on right here, they was on the wall, and it was just so amazing that you would thought it was planned and written out like a script, but it wasn't a script. These kids actually enjoyed the wall. They enjoyed all the themes that they see. They got to meet the authors, the kid authors.
Mm.
But it's really, how can you put it? Is this is this a way of life as these children are our future, right? And if we don't provide for them now, then what do we do? Where do we head up with them, right? So we really have to provide for these kids. And this is one of the walls right here to talk about the Schuylkill, um, which is one of our rivers in the city of Philadelphia. On the left-hand side, this is just one of the features, but the wall goes down about, I want to say about a good 100 foot, like the size of a football field. Nothing on that whole side wall is just nothing but kid-friendly activities and literature and signage that kids can definitely be that they can adapt to. We need to start putting things where families at the bus stop. It ain't about looking at the stop sign all the time, but looking at these words up on the billboards, looking at these words over here, and on the right hand side, that's me in the middle, and on the left, that is Maya Montero. She's a 12-year-old, and she's an author, and her story was just so powerful when I met her. Um, her mother is African American, and her father is Spanish. So she was in school, and the teacher said, "Well, we need you to do something on your family heritage." And she was like, "Well, I have two heritages. My mother's African American, my father's Spanish." So she came up with a book. I refused to choose. So she couldn't pick one. She wasn't just going to pick either her mother or dad. She couldn't do both, so she refused to choose. So she came up with that book, a nice book. On the right hand side of me, that is the young man, Asil Greer. His slogan is "I can read so I can lead," and he was just on the Kelly Clarkson show last week. And all these kids, not just these two, but the other kid authors, they all on these billboards across the city of Philadelphia. I'm on them as an avatar and some. And like I explained to this organization when we was putting this together, it's not about me, it's about the children, it's about the families. So I was reluctant to take this one photo with them. But like I said, I tried to get away out of the limelight and let the moms, the parents know, hey, I thank you for allowing your children to be a part of this. But I really want them to take ownership of it and let them be the limelight. I need them to be the light of all this stuff that's going on in Philadelphia.
That is so cool. And if anybody hasn't seen that clip from the Kelly Clarkson show, it's on YouTube, and you can actually see the whole interview with this young man, the author of I Can Read So I Can Lead, and his brother, his older brother, who illustrated the book for
Right.
him. They're now working on another book, right?
Yes, yes, yes. I
I'm
can't
going to
wait
read
to.
a few of the comments that we have here. Everybody's just saying nice and very cool, from Tammy and Pam. And Lisa says absolutely amazing. Darlene says that's awesome. Stephanie says this is so cool for kids writing to be read by the community. Rochelle says this is absolutely amazing. Melissa says great job. It looks awesome. And I know Melissa does some of the, she volunteers with you, right? In some of the reading.
Oh, yes,
Um,
yes. That's,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I would like to put it like this. Yes, Melissa is one of my partners in a lot of this literacy initiative that we do in the city of Philadelphia. So, and like I said in the beginning, it's this never about me. You know, I thank you for the webinar, but there's a lot of supports that support me that without them, I know a lot of this stuff wouldn't happen because, like I said before, there's no one of us is stronger than all of us, right? So I definitely need these, the supports that I have behind me, um, who support me on this initiative. And they ain't just supporting me; we're supporting the initiative together because we all live in the city of Philadelphia, right? And Melissa live in one section, I live in another section, somebody else live in another section. But I say this is not about a section. This is not about a north, a south, or west. This is a Philadelphia initiative. And not only is it going to become a Philadelphia initiative, our next movement is for it to be a Pennsylvania initiative, right? A state to state initiative. And for real, there should be a country initiative that if we don't change the language from state to state through all states through the country, then we're going to have this problem. So our kids need to see positive messages. They need positive influences. There's knowing that any given day we don't, kids come to school, you can't say what's wrong, but what happened, right? What happened between you coming from home and going to school or leaving school, going home? They see so much. They see in so many memorial sites, where people got killed on the corners. And we have to change their perception. But if we don't, we just not, we're not doing them no justice. So, we came up with the Love for Literacy event. I do these reading series just to engage with the community and just knowing like when we do community events, a community event is supposed to be what it is, a community event, right? Meaning that no one should have to come to an event and pull money out of their pocket. That's unacceptable because we know every family can't afford a book. That is $8, $10, $6. So we look for supporters, and I thank Be Strong Family because they support me very well in my endeavors and initiatives that I've been able to host. And without you guys, I mean, I give y'all much thanks. Just knowing that you guys are there to support me, and y'all way up there in Chicago, and y'all see what I'm doing in Philadelphia. So that was a godsend to me. Like, wait a minute. They said they want to do what because they know what we're doing in Philadelphia, and I was like, wow, I appreciate that. And this is what we look for. I don't monetary value stuff. I don't look for none of that. Anybody who wants to support, I'll just give you my email, and by all means and all ways, I do have a organization called the Resource PopUp Bus at the same time too. Um, I'll give you that information at the end of the slide.
Yes, we will.
But we look for any kind of support, whether it's just in books. If you have assets that you want to get rid of 50 to 100 to 200 to 1,000 books, I'm open. I'm willing to take them. I will take them because our task is just for North Philly alone. Our objective is we give out 15 to 20,000 books a year. And that means putting books in wagons, riding through the neighborhood, riding through the community, doing community events. And that's what we're charged with doing. Not just about me, but it's about me and the reading captains who's on my team. This is what we do.
Let me read a few of these comments, and then I got a couple of questions for you on the sidewalk libraries also. The environment is very important, said Pam. When you have a language-rich environment, it creates a love of reading, enhancing communication skills and comprehension, and most of all, curiosity. That's from Rochelle. It's very true. Let me just go down a little bit. Pam says, beautiful. She loves it. Lisa says you are helping to integrate Reading Bank into the culture in a colorful and fun way. Everybody just saying, loving this, loving that, love that. Lisa says you're teaching them to walk in their own light, and it's okay to receive praise when you do something good. And we put a couple of things in the chat that you all can click on if you want to help. And as Mr. Dorian said, anybody can submit a story for the little machine that spits out the little papers that kids can read on the subway and on the buses. And so if you want to submit them, we're going to give you that email at the end. Lisa says, instead of saying what's wrong with you, ask the question, what happened to you? Books help children to express their feelings and emotions.
Mm. And I want to
Fast family,
comment.
I'm
Oh, no, go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Fast families and schools together with love for the community work hand in hand. And there is your email. And then tell us a little bit about the resource pop-up bus, your initiative.
Yep. So before I start on that, I just wanted what SV had in the chat about what suggestions do you have for engaging more dads and dad figures in literacy with their kids? That's a plus. Okay. That one. This is how I kicked off with my fall in the reading series with my partner Darlene Bates Harper with the resource pop-up bus. She's on here. I was always I got 19 grandkids, and I would read to my grandkids on FaceTime. And so with me and Darlene Bates Harper, she's the founder of the Resource Pop-Up Bus, and we started collaborating. She said, well, Mr. Dorian, I need you as a, I want to be a partner. She wanted me to be a partner, and I accepted, and we've been doing these things. And I said, you know what, Bates Harper, let's do a reading series. And she said, I like fall into reading. I said, wow, that is great. So let's do this fall into reading series where, over there, pandemic years, I don't met up with 67 authors. And, so every Saturday, I put the authors up, the kid authors, but not just the authors. This is open for anyone who wants to read to children from a book K to 4. And not only that, I open it up to children who wants to read to the children. Because sometimes you always look at your peers are your best supporters, right? So when I had the kid authors read the book, there was more Q&A with the kids on kids, right? Whereas when it's kids to an adult, most kids are always taught you don't ask adult questions, right? But when it's a child reading a book, you never hear the questions like from a second grader. Well, what inspired you to write this book? When you get them words out from a second or third grade, that is great, that is powerful because they are motivated by somebody they same age that's able to write a book and to have their own clothing line and book bags and this decals and everything everywhere. So that is great. But to get more dads involved, I do a daddy and me reading. I do daddy and me arts and crafts. Sometimes you just got to get the dads in the position where they need to be doing something with their child, right? I was a dad. I would rather read and do something more tangible with my kids as opposed to say, let's go down to the corner store and get a popsicle. Because guess what? That popsicle is gone. That memory is gone, right? But if I'm sitting down with my child in the park against the tree, everybody get around the circle, daddy, pop, we're going to read to you. That's going to be a cherishable moment, right? And not only that, that one time becomes another time that they're going to become acclimated where that's what they're going to want. They're going to want dads to read to them. They're going to want moms to read to them. They're going to want pop and grandmoms to read to them because it starts becoming a part of what they're doing, So, but the dad things, the dads are in the school, like I do daddy and me donuts with dads. I would have the dads do an affirmation to their kids. That's a big start right there. When you can get a dad in front of a big room with 50 or 60 or 70 more dads and to say out loud to their son or their daughter an affirmation, son, I love you because, daughter, I love you because, right? That opens these dads up, and I get it. Dads are a piece of work, but I understand it because I'm a dad and I'm a pop, and I've been there. So I initiated these donuts with dads event Daddy and me arts and craft, Daddy and me painting with a twist. Trust me, dads will get involved because you know what? How dare you say no to your daughter or your son, right? That's just a feeling that's just unacceptable. How do you tell your daughter or your son, no, I'm not going to do this with you? You just can't. That's just not in our nature, for real, for real. That's just not in our nature. So that's some of the things how you can get more dads involved. So going to this sidewalk library, um, Miss Ann Kennan, she's one of my other partners from the book bank, which she got this whole big giant school warehouse, but nothing but books. So she's my main big supplier of books. Any day I can call up Miss Ann and say, Miss Ann, I know I got a little small car. I know I can't get 1,000 books in there, but I need you to give me 1,000 books, and I'm going to make it work. So, but she, and I just got a chance to see her Monday at an event too. But this, and she said, well, Mr. Dorian, when I met her, she said, I got these little, I want you to see these cases. They call sidewalk libraries. And if you can find locations to put them at and they can be secured, she was willing to provide them. So I'm not sure. I know in Chicago, every state had them at one point, the old newspaper stands. And I didn't send you a picture of that one, but them books that we did see was actually in one. The old newspaper stands, they're nice orange. They got a top shelf and the bottom door. And on the side, it says Sidewalk Library. And when she presented me with the first five, we actually went to a recreation center with some paint, let the kids put their hand in the paint and put their handprints on the Sidewalk Library to decorate it. And so they are in locations where people can drop off a book and they can take a book. So, we do have libraries, but during the pandemic, the libraries shut down. And that's another thing I kicked out too, even with that kiosk, right? Why can't this kiosk go in front of every library in the city of Philadelphia? Some people may walk past the library, never go in there, didn't know it's a library, but they see something right there. They may decide to go ahead and take something, take home to read, as it is a short story. So, like I said to Miss Ann, she provided me. I can call her up and say, Miss Ann, I need 300 books for Easter. She will give me Easter books. If somebody wants to do a Disney thing type book giveaway, Miss Ann, I need some Disney books. How many you need, Miss Dorian? And never a problem. It's never a question about what I'm doing with them, or really, she always. I know I'm probably her number one person who's there just to get books for the holidays, Christmas holidays. Me and my reading captain, we go down into the center city and we put two books in a bag, a candy cane, a pack of hot chocolate, a face mask, and we give away holiday books, during the Christmas holiday. And for the past previous 4 years, each Friday in December before Christmas actually came, we would actually get rid of 1,500 to 2,000 books just by giving them out in bags, in nice big plastic bags, or if people donate some nice carrying bags for me, got reading primers or whatever, we gave these books out. But there's knowing that, a lot of this work and a lot of these things that I do without that main supporter, which is the book bank, Miss Ann Kennan, because there's nobody else out here in the city that can provide that many books to me. I was just reluctant through ABC, Channel 6 Disney. They just gave me 500 books. And I don't know where books are coming from because I was home the other day. Like, well, I kept walking past my hall looking at this box on the floor in the hallway before I went down to my place. And I said, let me see who this belongs to. And I thought, oh my God, these are mine. And I opened it up. Somebody gave me 100 brand new books. And then another bait package came in. So, but just knowing that these books will be getting in the hands of families. Um, got an event coming up the 30th of this month because this is Autism Month, right? So I do have some authors. I got one on the line or, on this call right now who actually wrote books for kids who have autism or that autism spectrum. So kids, under, who have IEPs or developmental concerns that certain books will pertain to them. So most of their books want to be more graphic, right? Is more um, that can pertain to their learning style and their reading style. So we got this event coming up in April, and then in May, got another event coming up called "What Is Your Superpowers?" Right. So I got to wear a cape. All the adults will wear a cape, and they got to have their own slogan on the back. So the back of my cape will have fall into reading, and all the kids will get a face mask, and like the Batman and Robin type, the Robin type face mask. Everybody would get the little face mask, and what is your
Like
reading
fun.
superpower? Yes,
And
yes.
how,
So
these events that you put together, do you do them yourself or do you do them through an organization? Do you charge for them? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
so it's never about myself. I started out in the beginning, right? There's no one of us stronger than all of us, right? So if I didn't have the Melissas, the Tarenas, the Tarikas, the Shadinas, the reading captains, not just from North Philly, but across, through the city of Philadelphia, that may want to collaborate with me. But even my organization, Net Community Care, um, being that I'm employed there, they are one of um, to read about four community partners. I made them, being that I worked at this organization, I said, well, why not become a partner, a community partner? So this way, when we do events, it's not just a Dorian event. It's never a Dorian event. It's not just a reading captain read about four, but in partnership with the net, in partnership with the resource PopUp Bus, in partnership with Bimbo, in partnership with Lay's Potato Chip, whoever support us. That we're just open for it. And any event that we do, every event that we do, whether it's two authors, three authors. I mean, I pulled off one event that had 20 authors out there one time. No one pays for nothing. If I can't serve you food, then I can't serve you food. But if I can serve you food, which we do, you don't have to pay for nothing. If you want a book from one of the authors, when you come in, you'll get a ticket and go to the author of your choice and go get an autographed copy of that book and have a conversation with the author. And, at these events, not only that, the authors may decide that, hey, Mr. Dorian, I want to do a reading corner. Or I may bring three or four authors up on the stage or up on the podium and read their books to the family, do a little quiet time. Everybody, let's hear the author's story. And, I got another author. She got a series of books, and her favorite is Bubbles. And she does the Bubble song. She got a nice little song to go along with her book. And when she come out to my events, everybody go home with bubbles, whether it's a battery operated bubble machine or the big bubble wine. Um, so no, we don't, there's a cost for nothing. I just really look for support and donation from others. So I can make these events go on. And just knowing that um, no coins should have to come out of no community residents or whoever come up. Like there's no money should never come out of your pocket, you know. And the only money that do come out of people's pockets sometimes is, oh, you mind if I make a donation? Fine. And normally my secretary or Miss Bates Harper or somebody there, so they know the money is going towards our next event. Because we're charged of doing an event every month. Every month we're doing something, and we're doing it at a scale where we will always expect 30, 50, 100, 200 plus people to attend, depending on where we're doing it at.
Oh, well, Be Strong Families is really proud to be able to help you with those. We have a few comments in here, and I do want to encourage anybody, if you want to raise your hand, again, Andrew is more than happy to open up your mic and you can ask Mr. Dorian directly, or if you have a comment or something you'd like to share, you want more information, please raise your hand and we'll open your mic. Lynn says the confidence that is nourished in each child through reading is huge and cannot be diminished. Okay, you have the address for the pop-up bus. And Darlene says we have Men on the Move with host Mr. Dorian and Thomas J. Harper, where men come together every other month on Zoom and soon to be in person to discuss community issues and concerns. This initiative brings awareness on how men can present in the community and make an impact. So you're part of that as well, Mr. Dorian.
Yeah, and that's something, yes. And like I said, there's so much to be going on in this little head up here. Yes, so, and not only that, and thank you, Base Heart, and that's why I need her. That's why I said I need you to be on this because he knows me. I run a mile a minute, and also I host a man cave every last Wednesday of the month. So through my agency, Net Community Care, and I've been hosting this for 5 years, and just knowing that even during the pandemic, although it went virtually, the attendance has still stayed phenomenal. And now that the baseball season is starting, everything is opening shortly back up. And last year, we went to a couple of Phillies games, but me and 8 or 10 men, we go to the games. We'll do a movie day out just for the men, or a barbecue, have a little barbecue or something for the men. But as all this work that we do, whether we're doing these events, we doing the men on the move, the man cave, it's all about consistency, right? And that goes to the question with the young lady about how do you get more men involved, right? When you start something out with men, you have to show consistency. It has to be a pattern of consistency, right? You can't do nothing in April and then you try to reach back out to the men in August. Don't work like that. You have to be consistent with men. Trust me, I know. That's how I'm able to keep them, to keep the group of men supporting and keeping them involved, because it has to be on a monthly basis to have conversations with them, and it's not about, oh, Mr. Robert Davis, can you join this Father's Cafe? Right? And Mr. Robert Davis ain't heard from me in 3 to 4 months. Now all of a sudden I'm sending Mr. Robert Davis an invite to join the Father's Cafe. But guess what? Mr. Robert Davis heard from me because everybody that in my contact, one day out of the week, I got to make at least 20 to 30 calls a day just to do a check-in self-care, because it's all about relationships, right? It's not about, hey, Melissa, can you join this parent cafe? And Melissa ain't heard from me in 2 months, right? But knowing that Melissa hears from me, hey, Melissa, how you and the kids doing? How's the family doing? Everything okay? Okay, I'm just checking in on you guys, see how you doing, right? Then the following week, Melissa may hear from me again, or she may hear from me the week after. But it's that open line of communication. Like, don't just contact me for an invite,
Mhm.
right? And I haven't heard from you in 3 years. You don't know my situation. You don't know what I went through in 3 to 6 months. And all of a sudden, you call me up about a thorn, invite me to hear, right? So it's about consistency, just building those relationships up. And not only that, so even, the other young lady on here, Miss Lisa Graham, she's one of my great supporters too. And she's an author. She's actually an author, um, empowering kids for literacy. And I think that's when I think I might have sent you that too, Lori, and I might not, because like I said, I'm all over the place. Um, she has a nice organization, and I can never turn down a request, especially when it's from someone who's doing the work and see the same vision that I see. And she asked me, she said, well, Mr. Dorian, would you mind being president of my corporation? I was like, huh? And she said, yes. Like, she loved the work that I do, and knowing that we can collaborate, and we have collaborated and did some things together. So I said, well, like I tell everybody, I can do this, but just knowing that I'm only one person. I can be there. I'm going to do the best I can do, and I'm going to do what I have to do. But just knowing that my schedule calls me, because I'm involved in almost 13 different entities under me right now. That, sometimes my kids say, Dad, what's the baby name? And I don't know. So, but I do know I'm president of of this and that. So and that's something I got to get more better at. But my grandkids love me. They know I mean well. They know Papa means well. I heard my granddaughter tell my daughter the other day. She said, "Mommy, well, he called me a Naya. I'm not a Naya. He don't know who we are." I was like, "Oh my God." Yeah.
Name
So
tags.
yeah, yeah. So no, but it's just a privilege just to be able to support everyone, and not only that, and just knowing that, like, all this work, it don't really bother me because it's all in alignment with one, right? It ain't like one job. It ain't like I'm doing family engagement. I'm going to another job doing building maintenance, right? That just wouldn't work, right? Everything, both of my employees, my employment jobs are centered around family and community engagement. So all these people that's requested for me to sit on the board and be a part of an initiative is based on family and community engagement, because they are engaging with the community. They are engaging with families, right? And when I got the nomination, the call to be, I got put into this presidency's position for the Special Education Parent Teacher Association. That's always been my baby, right? Because I had 2 kids who had IEPs in the school, and I was advocating for families that, you know, I always tell families, if you don't understand the IEP, call me and I can sit on that meeting with you. You know, you just can't yes, 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 and put your signature on a paper. Because you don't know what you're really signing off for. So when they gave me that opportunity to sit on the special education parent teacher association, and I just got finished doing a IEP meeting, you know, workshop, you know, understanding the IEP meeting. The meeting alone is a whole process, right?
Oh, yes,
So
yes.
yeah,
And
yeah.
for those who
So
don't know, the IEP is the Individualized Education Plan for
mhm,
children with disabilities in the school system.
mhm,
It's a whole plan that's written up by the school district, by the school, and parents are asked to sign off on it. But a lot of parents don't understand and don't realize is that as a parent, you have the absolute right to question and request what programs you want your child in. You don't have to accept it, as Mr. Dorian is saying, just because the school is giving it to you. So that's great that you're helping parents with that. I have a child with special needs as well. So
yeah,
went through all that process in the schools. Not
yeah,
fun, and it can be daunting having to face it by yourself.
yeah, it's
It's
not
a
fun
lot.
at all. And I mean, I had my two baby boys, you know, they was um evaluated with that, right? But not knowingly that some of these issues is not really in existence. You know, sometimes you know teachers or staff can see kids act in one way, but you're not a psychiatrist, right? You don't know. And a lot of them just don't know. You know that there's nothing wrong with that baby. You know, there's nothing wrong with that boy. You know, when I start getting used to all the acronyms, you know, like IEPs and
Yes.
no rap and all that, right? So I remember, you know, the counselor called me up a couple of times 1 week. Well, Josh is acting up. Nate is doing this. Nate is doing that. Josh is doing that. Right. Then 2 months later, I get a call back. Oh well, Josh's behavior just been incredible. Like no problems, and my other son was, you know, excellent. And like, what kind of medication was? She's like, what kind of? And she actually asked me, what kind of medication did I provide for them? So I gave her the acronym BELT. She said, "What is that?" I said, "Brown elegant leather trim. That belt on that behind brought them back to reality." So, but I didn't really beat them like that. But you know, sometimes it's just having a conversation with our kids, right? And I know because I mean, as parents, we know if our kid really is experiencing some type of developmental issues for real, and then we know that it's really nothing. And I found out with my two boys in that case it was really nothing. They just wanted to be known, you know. They wanted to make a name for themselves in school. So sometimes you can have that kid who got do nothing but that A student, brilliant, achieving. The class gets boring to him. Then what do? He acts out. There's
It's
nothing wrong with him. He acts
just
out
bored.
because it's not challenging for him, right? Yes. Yeah, so even like with Miss Lisa Graham, excellent. She's one of my excellent resources and supporters. And just knowing that we got a chance to work at a couple of events together, and she was very kind to give me a nice donation of her books, um, you know, for no charge, and those books went into the hands of families. And it's not only that you know sometimes we got to how I like to put it. We got to give support when we're supported, right?
Yeah.
And dare me not, you know, how dare me not want to, you know, be a part of anything that she's doing. And, you know, I got a meeting next week with Children's Mission Incorporated, and I already know what's on the table. I already know what's on the table, you know. And they said, we need to meet with you, Mr. Doran, but we want to do some things. And I said, you know, fine and dandy, you know, I love to collaborate. I don't care what part of the city it is, because I'm that reading captain although I posted my boundaries supposed to be in North Philadelphia, but like I explained to everyone, this is not a North Philly initiative. This is the City of Philadelphia initiative. So if somebody's calling me and they need me to support, or they doing some type of event and they need me there, yes, I'm gonna let you know I'm coming up in your area. I'm not coming there to infiltrate. I'm coming up there to share resources and provide to the families. You know, so.
You're everywhere though, so you've already infiltrated. But how
Yeah.
can people support you, especially people who are not in Philly? You know, how can
Mhm.
you encourage, first of all, how can you encourage others to join you as a reading captain who are there in Philly? And for people who are not in Philly, how could we possibly support your efforts?
Okay, well, those who are in Philly, you can just reach out to me. I'll show you my email and my name, or reach out to Darlene Bates Harper. Um, but even those who are, and this is one thing we're doing. Although this initiative is in Philadelphia, right? How come every state or city don't have reading captains or reading ambassadors? I don't care what you call yourself, but if every state and city have libraries, then those libraries need to initiate some type of program and outreach to reach more out to the community. Because we know a lot of people are not just going in the libraries as they should be going, right? People are not attending libraries. So I think as every city and state look at this model, what we're doing in Philadelphia, that's reading captains, and they can call themselves reading captains of Chicago, reading captains of wherever you're from, or reading ambassadors, because my next initiative now is to get some of these young kids and call them junior reading captains or junior ambassadors, right? Because we know that when kids read stories to a kid, there's no wrong. There's no wrong, right? As opposed to when children is reading while adults around. It's just a different combination. But we do what we do. Um, like I said, I do this reading series on every Saturday. I'll share that flyer with you at the end of this. But anyone who have a passion, anyone who feel like they want to read to the children one Saturday, you can text me. I'm giving you my phone number will be up on there. Give me a call. I will put you in for a date right now. I know I'm booked up through June. So you can just get a book of your own for K to fourth. And I will put you on the calendar, and it's virtually. You're more than welcome. Even if you have a young kid, 8, 10, 12, who love to read, and they can read through a book, they're more than welcome. They are more than welcome to read to the children. Okay,
Are
because I
you doing
really
these
want.
live? Do you do these
No,
reading
well,
events live, or are they recorded?
these are virtually, and they are recorded. We do record them virtually.
Okay.
But when we doing our community events in person, like I said, I'll do reading corners. Put some blankets out on the grass and tell the author, I need you to go over there. You read to this kid, and tell this author you read to this kid. Then after an hour or 30 minutes, you will switch, and we'll rotate somebody coming listen to your story, and you coming listen to that story. I know in July we're having a big West Coast East Coast book expo. And the young lady from Atlanta actually reached out to me and said, Mr. Dorian, I need you. Here we go again, right? Mr. Dorian, I need you to be a part of this expo to represent Philadelphia. Can you provide me with some names of some authors? And um, she actually, we're putting this together. Things are in the work and things are going on. And in the month of July, I forget the date, June, we'll have this big West Coast, East Coast book expo that we're doing. And like I said, it ain't about me. When I'm involved in things, I got to get the whole team involved. Even when I do my meetings, if I'm agreeing, if I want to do an event, this is not my decision. This is a decision based on everyone who was at that meeting, who attended the regional meeting, and we had this conversation about we're going to do this Love for Literacy event. This is how much money we're going to have to go into the budget and get. But it's never a decision that's based on me. It's based on the reading captains and the other regional facilitators who would like to partner with me, that we will go on and do these initiatives.
Lisa Graham says young students have such an impact on our little ones who watch and listen to them read. They want to be like them someday. And I can just imagine that,
Yeah.
for me, I was a teacher before I came to Be Strong, and just seeing these very young authors, I mean, 8, 10, 12 years old, that are publishing their books. First of all, I'm jealous. And then
Mhm.
it's just, they're such great role models, because I can say to my daughter, look, you know, she's reading, and look, she came out, he came out on the Kelly Clarkson show talking about his book. And it's just a great role model for them to see that, it's not me pushing them to read, it's another child.
Yeah, yeah, and they get more inspired. I mean, I had the opportunity to co-write 3 children's books. So I was just reluctant to write a book. It was me, my mother, and 4 parents. We wrote a book called Michael's New Hat. Then me, my mother, and 8 parents We wrote another book called My Friend is an Alien. And then me and 21 parents wrote another book called Hadassah Scores Big. So even as parents, like, I don't care if there's nothing that we can't do, right? You put 15 to 20, 10 parents in a room, 5, 8 parents in a room, and you talk about writing a book, it's going to start, somebody's going to say something to start the book, and the next thing you know, everybody's putting input, right? Then we start editing, then we start illustrating, then we start editing. But just to have that privilege, and the first book that I actually wrote, I did affirmations on my kids. Book number one was called My Three Sons, and book number two was called My Three Daughters. And all it was an aspiration, an affirmation to each one of them and a page. You know, book ain't cost nothing but a little hard cardboard. You get the color copier and you put the pictures on there. You put the pictures in the name, paste it on there. But it was a book that the school district of Philadelphia, when I introduced it to them to Parent University, they actually did a workshop so parents can actually start doing the affirmation to their kids and have this little take home for their families. My years with the school district, I had the privilege to work with some very, very great females, and that's who y'all are. Y'all are great because y'all are the nurturers, and without y'all, and I'm not afraid to say it, and I can always admit this. Without the females, as men, we're nothing because y'all are nurturers. Y'all are who y'all are, right? Y'all, and all my years through all my employments, I've been guided by females, and they gave me the opportunity to say, "Hey, Mr. Dorn, what do you think about this? What kind of initiative?" I said, "You know what? We want to get more families about. I don't mind doing these parent workshops, but when do we engage with the family at whole? Like when do the parents come out with the kids?" And I said, "You know what? How about we go to the clay studio? Let's go have a conversation. Let's get about 3,000 pounds of clay and let these parents and these families and these kids start making something, let it mold, get hard, and they got something to take home." That pilot program went so well that the clay studio, they said, "We want to come back. We can't even charge y'all." So, because
That's
we got more,
amazing.
yeah, because when you engage, to me, family engagement is what it is. Family engagement, right? Different from parental involvement, right? Family engagement means the family need to be engaged. How do you bring the family out together to do things? So like Crayola came out with this art, inspired art thing that they have, a game that families can work together. Like the mom and dad can sit down with the kids and do these activities, with the family. So even like I said, the Daddy and Me arts and crafts, cooking with Daddy and Me, right? I did all of them kind of workshops, where dad can bring the kids out. Hey, we're going to cook this and we're going to make this, and you're going to serve it to everyone. I'm going to go back to like the fast program that Melissa was talking about. But we can, keeping dads involved and keeping them engaged, it has to be consistent. Do something tangible. Have a takeaway, like a Daddy and Me painting with a twist, right? One of the most easy things that you can do with your kids. I don't care what they make. They paint. What they painted, what they see, and what you see, right? I don't care if they put 18 lines across the paper and they different color, but guess what? That's their art. And you paint it with a twist with my daddy. And that's something every time I look at it, this what me and my daddy did. This what me and my mommy did. Those are charitable moments, right? Those moments will never go away from the child. That's just something that'll never go away, as opposed to Mr. Softy coming down there, down the street. Here's the ice cream, and now I don't left you, right? I don't gave you ice cream, and I don't walk away and did something else. But I didn't have that ice cream and walk through the park with you and run down the grass and roll all down on the grass and, act and play as we do. I'm that one. My daughter just hate for me to go to the market with them and their kids because I'm the one running around the market. I'm pushing the carts and playing hide and seek in the market and everything. But at the same time, showing them what aisle is this? What we gonna find in this aisle? You know, if we got rice over here, what do you think is gonna be in the next aisle? And where did show them like all the dairy products. So that way they became acclimated now when they go into a market. And my daughter say, "Dad, I was in the market. And I told Leah to go get a dozen of eggs, and she went and got the eggs and came right back and found me." I said, "No, because you got to get them acclimated to the surroundings that they're in. I don't care if it is the market, right? They should be able to know how to listen, especially at 8 years old, go to a certain aisle, find the food, come back to you, and continue with you, Sometimes you want to
Those
get
are
a kid.
great ideas. Those are great
Yeah.
ideas. We're overwhelmed and we're almost out of time, and we want to have a chance to share your information, Mr. Dorian, so that everybody can contact you. This
Yep.
is the resource pop-up bus, an activity that's coming up, the Reading Wonderland, and we'd like for everybody to share in the chat if you can. We are, what would you like to amplify? And today we are hashtag amplify love for literacy. So if you'd like to put that in the chat, we'd appreciate it. And we have a short poll that's coming up. So if you could please just answer those two very short questions and submit them. We want to thank Dorian for joining us today and sharing with us all of his amazing activities. I hope you all got some great ideas, and we look forward to more reading activities and literacy activities, and hopefully this will spread across. If anybody has anything that you can share with Mr. Dorian, or if you have questions, his address and contact information is in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Dorian. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good afternoon. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.